In the cold black between the stars, the silent giants drifted dark shapes, older than the Orion Council itself. Even the bravest captains avoided those starless corridors, where radio waves vanished into nothing and rumors sprouted like weeds. The humans called them the custodians. The rest of the galaxy called them monsters. Commander Vale's tendrils shivered as he studied the grainy footage on his flagship's main screen. He'd seen enough to know he was watching ghosts in motion, kilometer-long shapes moving with the deliberate slowness of tectonic plates, so black they swallowed every photon. Beside him, his second-in-command, Zor, rasped nervously. "Are they even alive?" Vale didn't answer. He thought back to the archives, to the first time the Accord made contact with Earth. The humans had been primitive then, wielding weapons that scorched entire atmospheres but lacked the subtlety of quantum arrays or the grace of psionic blades. When their tiny colonies pushed out from Sol, they found threats waiting. Some species tried to conquer them outright. Others tested their borders. The humans fought back, but always outgunned, outnumbered, until they built the giants. They called them ships, but they were more like sentient fortresses. No lights, no banners, no life signs, just a mountain of armor, bristling with rail cannons that could puncture moons and launch rods of tungsten across entire star systems. One by one, the aggressors fell silent, and the giants waited. "Commander, should we hail them?" Zor asked, voice trembling. Vale let out a low hiss. "Hail? You think they speak?" He turned his eyes to the swirling void outside the viewport. Somewhere in that abyss, a dozen giants loomed, unmoving, unblinking. They did not advertise their presence, that was the point. They were a promise, forged in the crucible of a desperate species that learned the universe only respects one law: deterrence. He tapped a claw against the armrest, remembering how the Accord once tried to seize Earth's agricultural colonies. 5 task forces gone, without a single distress beacon. The Accord claimed it was sabotage, that the humans must have poisoned their databanks. But the few survivors who drifted back described the same nightmare. Titanic shadows appearing without warning, tearing apart dreadnoughts with kinetic strikes so violent the shockwaves turned battleships inside out. No declarations, no ultimatums. The giants didn't even broadcast threats. Their silence was enough. "Commander, our scouts report their positioning around our jump points," Zor whispered. "They know our fleet's here," Vale said. "And they know what we were planning." Officially, Vale's fleet was on a diplomatic patrol. In truth, they were meant to pressure Earth's new frontier stations, remind the upstart species who controlled the shipping lanes. But how do you intimidate an enemy whose guardians have no fear of death, because they're not even alive in any way the Accord understands? An alert pinged across the bridge. The flagship sensors tracked a subtle energy surge, not weapons, but something deeper. One of the giants was powering up its spinal accelerator. "Should we fire?" Zor asked. His scales were pale with dread. Vale looked at the screens, at the vast ship drifting closer. On its hull, deep under layers of ablative armor, they could make out an ancient human insignia, the faded blue and white circle they called Earth. No fanfare, no demand, just the unspoken promise. Cross this line, and you will cease to exist. He remembered the stories his grandsire told him, how the first fleets laughed at human war doctrine. So crude, so obvious. How they all fell. How entire sectors were now marked "Do Not Trespass" on every star chart worth buying. Vale closed his eyes. He thought of his crew, of the young spawn back home who had never seen war, only heard tales of it. Did he really want their bones scattered among the silent graveyards of human space? He stood, robes swirling around him like a dying star's corona. "Signal the fleet," he ordered. "We're pulling back. Now." "But, Commander," Zor stammered, "if we retreat, the Council will. Let the Council come out here and stare into the abyss themselves," Vale snapped. "Let them test the resolve of those who have nothing left to prove." Outside the viewport, the giants remained motionless. Not gloating, not threatening, simply waiting. As Vale's fleet turned away, engines burning blue against the endless dark, he wondered if the humans still even remembered why they built the giants. Perhaps they did. Perhaps they didn't. Maybe it didn't matter. The universe had learned. You do not provoke those who stand behind the silent giants. And so the corridor between the stars stayed quiet, because sometimes it is not the roar of war that keeps the peace, but the silence of the guardians no one dares wake.